I've heard this before, and I likely felt the same way when I was at this point of my book journey, and that is, I can write this manuscript, I can publish this book, but I really do not want to get involved with social media, nor do I want to harass the people I know and love with emails. But guess what, my new friends? We kind of have to do both because they go hand in hand. If we want to publish a book, we need to begin building a platform. Before we begin, I am Tina Moody, and I am author of The Spiritual Awakening of an Analytical Mind, along with co-host to the podcast Intuition Talks. And I am a 30-year veteran in the insurance industry, along with 20 plus years in various facets of real estate. If you want to learn more about my journey from kind of the corporate life to writing a book about spiritual awakening, feel free to watch my prior video. I will post it at the end of this video. So an eye-opening discovery for me on this journey about bringing this book to life was that I could no longer hide from the public eye when it came to the book journey. And the steps that I needed to take needed to happen immediately. Like right now, when you decide that you want to write a book, you start building a platform if you have not already. And that is why I'm doing this video now as video number 3, as after coming back onto YouTube, versus getting into more details about writing and publishing, because it is that important. So let's dive into the questions that we need to begin asking ourselves as far as our intention around writing this book, around why we need to build a marketing platform, and then how we build a marketing platform. Okay, if we truly want to write a manuscript, which is, by the way, is one thing I learned. We write a manuscript, we publish a book. So it's not a book until it's published. And I was corrected on that very early on, so I will share that with you here. Okay, if we truly want to write a manuscript and possibly publish a book, we need to get really, really honest with ourselves here and ask some questions. What is our intent? So if our intent is to write a manuscript with no intention of publishing it, perhaps it is a story of our family history, let's just say, and our intent is to have some copies printed to share it with family members. That's great. That's one thing. You can stop the video now because you don't need to build a platform. If we take that a step further, and I'm not going to hit every point here, by the way, but if we take that a step further and you say, I've got this, I had, creative writing 101, and I feel confident in my editing and I feel I'm good to go. Or you go on a site like, say, Readsy and get an editor that isn't too expensive, and you write your manuscript, you have it a little bit edited, maybe you get some assistance with the cover, and you head out onto Amazon and you load it up there. And then you sit back and whatever comes. It doesn't matter. It was just the process and the experience of doing it. And those are your only expectations. Once again, fabulous. If you decide you want to kind of push the envelope a little bit and maybe reach out to help promote the book, and so that it gets some legs out on Amazon, that's when you need to begin looking at what your platform is. So say we take it a step further and we're self-publishing, and maybe we kind of up the professionalism of it as far as the editing, the graphic designer, we get help in on that. Or we go the route that I went, which was the cooperative publisher, which they vetted those people and brought them or connected us all together. And we've invested a little bit more time, money, energy, money, key one. And we say, it'd be nice to recoup a little bit of the cash that I put out, especially if you're paying for the printing of it too. See, if you go on Amazon, that's usually print on demand. And so you're not having that expense. But like for me in the cooperative publisher, I print the books, and those are the books that are supplied to the bookstores. Those are what's supplied if people buy it through my publisher site or if they buy it through me. So that's a bigger expenditure. So yes, it would be nice to recoup some of those dollars. So we need to really kick in and start building that platform to create a base of people that are ready, willing, able buyers for that book. If we take it even a step further all the way to the end and we say, this book is spectacular and I know people are going to love it, I am all in. I am going to do the query letters to get myself a literary agent. They are going to take this and they are going to go to a publisher and they are going to land me a deal. Guess what is part of your book proposal? Your ability to market this thing. Because whether you go self-publishing or traditional publishing, some of that marketing and sales lands back on the author. So they want to know that you have those ready, able, willing buyers ready to buy your book as soon as that is published. And that means that if you are thinking that you want this book to go out into the world and not just to, a limited stock to your family, then you need to begin today building your platform. And again, as I just said a minute ago or a few minutes ago, that's why I'm doing this video now above writing and above publishing, because it needs to start now if that is your intent. So you need to decide, how committed are you to this project? How much desire do you have for this project with everything else that you have going on? Because it is a commitment. Are you committed? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in the words that you are going to put onto paper and share out into the world? So these are big questions that only you can answer, and you need to sit back and kind of consider all this, because if you do want to put this book out into the world, it's time to build a platform. Let me loop back for a minute to readdress the Amazon comment that I just made a couple minutes ago, and that is that Amazon is not all about print-on-demand books. I don't want to misconstrue that in any way. They have a Kindle Direct publishing company that is the on-demand printing part of that. So of course, there are books out there. Most of the books out there are likely already printed books that they are distributing, just like my book. So I just want to clarify that real quickly. The other thing before we dive into platforms is that we should talk about a couple more questions that you need to ask yourself. And the first one may seem obvious, but it is, what name do you want to write under? Again, it may seem obvious, whatever your name may be, but for me, I had kept my married name for the sake of the kids being in school, and I didn't want to write under that name, so I decided to use my maiden name. So that's why you'll see Tina L. Moody. The other part of that is that, being me, and maybe you're like me, I felt more comfortable setting it up as an LLC, because legally I was not Tina L. Moody. You can laugh at me if you'd like. So I am officially Tina L. Moody LLC. The other part of that is that, and we're going to talk about some of these things that we're going to do to funnel and build our platform. And the obvious one is social media, websites, and all that. So that means that once you decide on the name, the next thing you need to do is secure those names within the online world. So again, we'll use myself for an example. I went on to look for Tina Moody, and Tina Moody was taken. I think it was taken by another author as well, by other Tina Moodys out there. And so for my website, I had to settle on Tina L. Moody. But as soon as I saw that that was available, I secured that web address, I guess they call it. As far as the social media piece, I already had some social media, even though I wasn't active on it. But now I was going out under a different name, so I needed to secure those names. The Tina L. Moody was actually already taken, so I added the LLC. So you'll find me on social media at Tina L. Moody LLC. So these are things that help build that foundation before you start building your platform on top of it. So secure those things, see what you're comfortable with. Sometimes you have to adapt and settle on something that may not be exactly what you want. The one thing that I did read that I want to pass along, though, is that somebody made the comment, use your name, not the book. One, we alter our book titles sometimes right up to the end, and you want to get this platform going, but also because what happens if you're promoting something else out there, or you change direction some way, or you put out a second book. So if all your sites and everything were based off from the name of book one, that kind of doesn't work. So I thought that was good advice, and I made sure to follow that. On a side note, I've kind of liked having two identities. Again, I wasn't big on social media in the first place, but I kind of like having this Tina in my personal life and then this Tina persona of the book, because what we quickly find as we're building a platform is that that persona grows, and it's not just the book, it becomes all these other sites and all these other things. And so for me, I kind of like it, to be honest with you. Okay, so now what is the goal of a platform? Let's hit that really quickly. The end of the day, it's what most people want. Whatever you're marketing out there, it is the holy grail of marketing, and that is email addresses. Why? Because it provides direct access into somebody else's inbox, right? And they are following you, or they gave you their email address for a reason. Either they're interested in what you have to say, what you have to sell, just you in general, perhaps. So this is what publishers want. And as, I guess, be it a traditional published author or a self-published author, this is what you want as well, because this is going to assist you in more book sales. So these are these people in your email address book who will hear that you are launching a new book, and they are going to run to the bookstore and they are going to purchase it at a vastly higher percentage than somebody, say, on social media or somebody on the street. Or they're going to click their way to Amazon and purchase your book because they want to support us, we hope. So after this realization kind of hit me and I settled in with it, the fact that, okay, I can't not do a platform. I have to begin building a platform. And I began setting up all those other things that I just talked about as far as the website and the social media accounts and all that. I began looking at my email address of who I already had. So I've been in the world of insurance, I've been in the world of real estate, and then you have everybody else over here. I started paring that list down because of the topic of my book. I pared it down to those people that wouldn't think I was crazy. So I'm hopeful for you that your book doesn't have that same kind of dichotomy that splits it, that you can embrace everybody on your list and not have to pare it down so much. But you should probably screen through it a little bit and see who wouldn't mind receiving this information. Okay, so now let's talk about the potential funnel opportunities that we have to grow the email address book of our fans. First, I just want to be clear that I do not know everything by any stretch of the imagination, and the fact that we are all different. We are all writing different books, coming from different perspectives, with different platform opportunities, meaning what our potential reach is out there. There's a lot of different things to take into consideration in this. So we are not all the same or cookie cutter, but there are going to be some general similarities, we'll just say. You should always do what feels right for you. I know for me, I followed kind of the unfolding of what I needed to do next on the platform, because when it all came at me at once, it was a little overwhelming. So I did my list and I just slowly checked things off. And it's taken 3 years and it evolves. New things are added, some things fall away, and just be patient and know that it will all come together in the end. Okay, so with that, why don't we start with social media? It's probably one of the more obvious ones. And now we have our social media addresses all secured and set up. And that all takes time too, because we had to type in descriptions of everything. So however you set it up, that's all good. Now what do we do? Oh my goodness, we need content. Oh, I didn't sign up for this, is what many of us say. So for those that, like me, not typically on social media, we need to begin thinking of content and how to engage with the people. Well, one, to get followers, and then to engage with them. So here are some things that I've learned over the last 3 years of trying to maneuver through this, is that keep the purpose of this, of doing social media, in mind as you're doing it. And it's so easy for it to slip. You are looking to gain followers, yes. You're looking to provide them content that engages them, yes. But the ultimate goal is to convert those people to email addresses or potential people that are going to buy your book. That is really the goal, and I lose sight of it all the time. So if I can just kind of emphasize that quite a bit, I need to. And I need to emphasize it back to myself as well. Like recently, like I lose sight of the fact that I need to be promoting our book because it feels weird to self-promote sometimes. And, you know, I'm over a year of my book being out at this point. So you feel like, is it too much? So I just started pulling quotes from the book and put this little book face in the email just to keep the book kind of in the forefront of people's mind, that I'm not just out here spewing information with no true purpose. So I would say those are probably the biggest thing. Just keep reminding yourself of that. The other thing is to recycle content as much as you can. Like if I post something, or if I do something on my website, or if I do something someplace else, I'll try to kind of, even if it's not exactly reusing it, I'll try to tweak it and use it in a different way, but on social media. So I'm not starting from scratch all the time. And that's going to save you time, because social media can be a huge time suck. So managing that as best you can, especially for those of us that aren't typically on there. The other thing I want to just say is that, you know, some people look at it, oh, I have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever it may be, 5,000, subscribers on, or followers on social media. Just keep in mind that they're not as invested. One, they can leave anytime. Adios. Two, they may not always see your post due to the algorithms, or whether they're on online scrolling or not, right? So it's a very kind of fickle pickle, that social media thing. So this is why the emails are even more important. So engage and try to pull them in as much as you can. Another place is within your website. So say you get your website set up and it has the ability to do email marketing, which I highly recommend for a few reasons. One, it gets you in the habit of writing, which in the practice of it, which is great. It also allows you to put the writing out into the world, which for some of us, that's a big step. The other thing is that you can share it onto social media platforms, or you can share it within your email address. So two things, it may, if you put it onto social media, if you type up an article about something, then you may get people subscribing, therefore signing up and giving you their email address. Boom, done. The other thing is that for those email addresses you already have, until that book comes out, because you're still writing it over here, you're providing them content to keep them engaged, to keep them interested in what you have to say. So I go back and forth, but that's how I started this whole thing, was with a blog. I didn't even know it was called a blog. I just started writing some stories of some women who inspired me, putting it into that email queue, and also putting it on social media, and I built that way. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that if you're starting out with X number of, maybe it's hundreds or thousands of people on your email address, people are going to leave, and it's okay. Don't be sad, because it was your perception or your opinion that I'm going to start with all these people. Well, they may not be interested. I mean, I get overwhelmed with how many emails are in or come into my inbox as well. So I always tell people, if this isn't your cup of tea, feel free to unsubscribe. I understand. Because what happens is that if people aren't opening them, you can tell in your email marketing campaigns, be it through your website or MailChimp, or I'm spacing on the other one, but Constant Contact. So just know the average open rate of emails is between 17 and 28%. I have had a lot of people go from that original list, but the people I bring on, I know are interested in my content. So my open rate tends to be about 45 to 50+% on average, because I'm bringing in the people that are interested in what I have to say, what I'm selling, what I'm doing. So again, don't be sad. It'll all work out in the end. Also, through my website, I release a weekly newsletter. I don't do any more beyond that. And I use that as a way to get in subscribers as well. So keep that in mind. So what I do and what many people do are book fairs or craft fairs. In my case, metaphysical fairs type things. And I always have a book sitting there where people can sign up for that newsletter, and they'll provide their email address. It's great. Every once in a while, I'll bribe people to sign up, and I'll have a raffle that if they sign up, they can drop a ticket in and be pulled for the raffle. Sometimes it's for a copy of the book. So use your imagination and read your crowd as to what's going to work for those things. Other places of kind of extending your presence, like church, your college associations or your high school associations, general associations in business, if your book is appropriate for that. Book talks, I've held smaller book talks and done that. I've been asked to speak at a local YMCA. The variety of places that can kind of add things into the funnel and come out with an email address is great. And again, differ by person, by book by book. Speaking engagements, obviously. 6 months ago, I started a podcast with a person I met on this journey. And again, we're 6 months in. That's another place, as well as being on podcasts. So I've been asked to be a guest on some podcasts. And as a result of that, I've not only sold books, but I've received people signing up and giving me their email addresses. So there's a lot of different places that you can go to add things to that funnel. You just have to kind of sit and map it out and use your imagination to your situation a bit. So there is so much to do, as you can see. There's a lot of things being juggled here. And my recommendation is to be easy on yourself. Each of our lives is different as well. For example, I am a single mom. I have my kids every other week. I have made the personal choice not to attend many of the book fairs and craft fairs, or my publisher actually will take 30 of us to a table at a fair. And sometimes I have to pass on those because I have the kids. Not that I have to, I want to. It's a choice I'm making at this point in time until they're out of school, which is just 2 years away. So I'm gentle with myself on that. I know that, you know what, in 2 years from now, things can change and I can make some different choices there. So I want to share that with you. Now, keep in mind, all of this, though, all of this stuff I talked about is before we even get into a discussion on cost-benefit analysis, on what it costs to attend some of this stuff, or to what you earn per book. And I can't help but let my business mind get involved with that. And as much as I want it all to come from my heart, my little business voice hops in there. So that will be for another day on another video. And I think that's a wrap for today. My apologies for the extra long video today. I will try to do better in the future to keep it to that 15-minute time frame a little bit more. But nonetheless, I hope this video has opened your eyes to the things that are needed from you as you embark on this journey, particularly around building a platform. Again, it's for you to discover because we are each different. We're each bringing different things into this, and you need to decide what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and it will evolve as well. So I'm here merely to offer insights, perspective maybe, stories from my path, things that I've encountered, bumps along the way, and then you can take what resonates with you and maybe go out and research other things and bring them in to figure out how you need to assemble this whole package in order to build your platform, but also to move forward on your book journey as well. So thank you for joining me today. I so do appreciate it. And I hope that you will come back for the next video as well. And in the meantime, be well and just keep stepping forward. Take care.